No matter where you are, help and support is just a phone call away. Dial 1097 HIV/AIDS National Helpline toll-free number.
Umintri rang ba ka Jylla Conrad Kongkal Sangmau Laitu ba Naduh balabu ya ka khadap entry exit point Umling Riboy district. Nongjngohkai bawan na shabar ka Jylla hado ka South Luber Shillong 8,000 sispa arflaingot. Laitu ba hauno pra 8,000 arpau kidon sanaja sanpa sanpoi ngot ki bawan syaka Jylla kum Nongjngohkai. Hau kula lengkot kila don kendai hajar sanspa sanpo prangut rempang kendai hajar ruspa rusaungut bat Pyntreikam hado ka South Luber ki don cheja laispa sanpongut ki Nongjngohkai ki bawan syaka Jylla. Umintri rang ba ula pentip yakani haba juba bi ke jingkali ke bala wanra do wemele ke Shillong ba Mohendro rapsang alo ke jingdon ki Nongjngohkai syaka Jylla Naduh bala Pyntreikam ya ke entry exit point Umling bat ke jingsha kta ki trashnong. Nakaliang ukonrad ula itu ru ba ke jungman jong ki Nongjngohkai na sabar kala kham her haba yonujor bat ki bikipor bat benrap ru ba ki pai ba ke Jylla ki bakamai ni ki kam Nongjngohkai ki la donong. Umintri rang ba ula pentip ru hapo ke yang dorbar ba ka kunhun mentri de ka cabinet kala shim ya karai ba ki Nongjngohkai ki bawan syaka Jylla Meghalaya la kumnuk nuk ki haban sa saupu pra kenta hakapor badang sedang ban ple pat menta la penjin sur syaka arpsa kunta nakamta ban kring ya ki babun ki Nongjngohkai. Ulong ba ya ka ni karai jong ka sarkar kalong nakamta ban kintiu ru ya ki Nongsongsnong ki bakamai na ki kam Nongjngohkai. Ukonrad ulong baka sarkar ka klemshim ya ka sinjam ban nyerap ya ki Nongsongsnong ki basyakta na ka jingduna ki Nongjngohkai hakapor bajur ka klam covid henry ulai itu baka baka sarkar kalala ban nyerap na ka baka lama ban chimwai na kitu ki Nongsongsnong ki bapenun kam ne chimwai ki jaka sarkar lingba ka tonat tourism. Ukonrad ula pentip ru baka sarkar ka yarap ya kitu ki preu ki badon hakikam Nongjngohkai hakapor basyakta na ka klam covid da ka basimwai ki hotel ki homestay bat kiwe ban pelong kum ki corona center bat ke jingpulot nakam ta ka ni ka long arpho klur tingka.
Mr. Speaker, sir, reply to star question 76A. So the total number of tourists who have visited in Meghalaya since facilitation center was set up are as under. 1. December 2020, 5,551. January 2021, 9,558. February 2021, 9,664. March till 4th of March 2021, 1,350. Total 26,123. Reply to 76B, yes sir. C, so the stakeholders have informed loss of revenue. D, no sir, however, other relief measures are being provided.
Yes. Honorable Chief Minister, may I know, it is a fact that the visiting tourists who has reported in the facilitation center that their stay in the state is less than 48 hours have been turned away from the facilitation center?
Sir, as a cabinet, we had decided that during COVID time, we need to be extra careful. Therefore, based on the COVID situation, it was felt that if the tourists are coming in, then they should not be one-day trip tourists, one-day tourist. That does not mean that we don't want people to come, but it was a decision by the cabinet that we need to ensure that we don't have too much of traffic coming in of this day trip tourists because of the COVID situation, nothing else. So therefore, based on that, we decided that if tourists are coming in and if you're going to open up tourism now, let it be the serious tourists who want to stay and who will add revenue to the state and who will give money to the stakeholders. So that's why we take a decision that people should come in and stay for at least 48 hours. Then we realized that we need to relax it a bit because as the situation improved, so then we reduced that to 24 hours. So as of now, we are sticking to the 24-hour because we would want it to be at least tourists who would come in and spend some money, and and the stakeholders, whether it's the hotels or whether it's the different homestays, then they can also start earning. So that's why with that kind of a strategy, though of course it is a bit of a situation where it's some people have faced inconvenience, but that is not our purpose. But the idea was really to keep our people safe, yet at the same time ensure that serious tourists were coming in, and third, to ensure that some revenue was earned by our stakeholders.
So, looking at the overall decline in tourist entry as compared to last year, and then may I know from the Honourable Chief Minister the steps taken by the government to improve this flow?
Sir, of course, we have seen a large drop in the number of tourists, and it is because of the lockdowns that took place, because of the restrictions that we had for COVID. And of course, last year was a very, very difficult year for all of us. And the tourism sector was one of the first to be hit and one of the last to recover also. So therefore, it's a very difficult situation for our stakeholders in the tourism sector. So there is no doubt that it's challenging. So there is no, I should say, one reply to what the Honourable Member has asked. It's a process. So therefore, apart from the fact that a strong, aggressive marketing and information was passed on to the tourist, the fact that we are starting and pushing the flights from different metros, the fact that we are now creating, for example, we have just started the process of creating very, very high resolution and good quality videos for the different tourism locations that we have, so that then we can start marketing it. We have started investing a lot in the infrastructure. We have started training different people through different government schemes. We use this time where we could train our stakeholders from different homestays. So these trainings are taking place. So there are multiple factors that are going on. We have worked in this last 1 year to clear the externally aided project from NDB, which is amounting to 700 crores. All this will be invested in the different infrastructural projects that are going on. We will be also upgrading the overall infrastructure in the rural areas through this project which I mentioned about Southwest Khasi Hills, as well as in East Garo Hills. In Nokrek will be additional EAPs that we'll be taking up. So like that, sir, so on and so forth, there are multiple aspects that we are going into. We have created this very, very user-friendly app. We have now connected the different travel agents to these apps so that then the tourists will be able to easily register and connect to different programs and stays. So for example, earlier the tourists used to struggle to figure out what they will do when they come here. So they used to just depend on the taxi driver or the hotel person telling them. But now we've actually taken the step to create a complete circuit for them, day-wise itinerary for them. And we have put this on the website. So tourists can actually click and choose and say that, that we want to go for this program. So all this kind of integrated effort is going on to connect it. So there's no one answer to this, but it's a complete process. And this year is very crucial for us because a large number of these infrastructural projects will be implemented this year. Last year we spent a lot of time in doing our homework and strengthening our different manpower here, and overall increasing the investment flow into the sectors. So the EAPs were worked on, all these and so on and so forth. So it's a very broad reply. Since he asked me the question, I didn't have a choice. I had to go into all the details.
Okay. Yeah, there are a lot of reply for improvement of tourist. Anyway, so the impact of the stakeholders in the last 1 year, they have suffered a lot of homestays, and then small time youth, they have taken a loan and then to start their homestays, to start their ventures in this sector. And may I know from the government, what type of this relief has been provided by the government to these stakeholders? What type of this relief
So, of course, as I had mentioned in the primary reply, that there was no specific proposal to give a general relief to everybody. But then, wherever possible, wherever government could do small things that would help the different stakeholders was done. For example, there are, a large number of businesses that have taken government property on lease. So we realized that they could not recover this money. So we decided that we will waive off the 1 year's dues that they have to pay to the government for these properties. So that amounts to about almost 1.82 crores. So realizing that they would have difficulty, so at least these stakeholders who had taken the property from the tourism department, Directorate of Tourism, their annual fees was waived off, or the annual rent was waived off. Similarly, MTDC also waived off the fees that was the rent that had to be given by these private organizations who had taken government properties on lease, or the properties owned by MTDC on lease. So those also were waived off. At the same time, sir, directly, indirectly, a lot of these different stakeholders, hotels, were actually integrated into the fight against COVID. Now, a lot of people who used to, say, have shops and making food, so then they were engaged in providing food during COVID. A lot of the hotels were then converted into the COVID centers and, places for people to stay. So those bills also, a large amount has come up for that also, almost close to 20 crores was spent in these different hotels. So there was a base rate that was placed. So we have already cleared almost about 10.6 crores. We still have about 8.9 crores to be paid. But point is that these are ways in which we involved them during the COVID fight, and the benefit of that went to them. But this is the way we managed to support them. But yes, there was no specific program where we called all the stakeholders and decided to give any package to them, because it's a huge number and it's very complicated, and it would put a lot of burden on the government at that point in time. So we just tried to see where we could support, involve them in the COVID fight, and at the same time, wherever we could give them some relief by not asking them to pay the annual fees, we tried to do those. So those are the ways we tried to support the sector.
So, looking at figures, 2613 reported up to March 4, the tourists in the facilitation center. So may I know from the Chief Minister what happened to these names registered in the facilitation center? Whether these names are kept in the facilitation center or it is sent to the different departments? What happened to those names?
So the process is very simple. It's an online registration, which we do. And the people who do it in advance, they get a QR code, and it's simply scanned when they come at the facilitation center, and all the information comes out. In case they have not registered, so there are facilities out there to allow them to register and inform us. It's a basic registration where we ask for the name, we ask for where you're going to stay, what is the location, how many days, when you're going to go back. So all those registrations are done, and this is not on a register. Its name is registration, but it's online. Entire thing is on a cloud-based system, and it can be accessed by any department or the hotel as per the permissions given by the tourism department. So ultimately, we intend to incorporate and involve all the hotels also in this, so that the synchronization between the tourist registration done through this app and the registration done in the hotels will be synchronized. And we hope that finally we'll take it up to the level where even the police department and others will be given this information, because this is for the safety of all, and it's an information. And right now during the COVID time, it's very necessary that we have this information in case there is a situation where there could be some cases, and it will allow us to really trace and be able to contain the situation.
Yeah.
May I inquire from the Honourable Chief Minister whether the Meghalaya micro and medium enterprises schemes of 2020 will also cover for relief measures for all of these entrepreneurs running these facilities?
That's a different question, so I don't have a specific reply to that right now, so I'll require notice.
So what about the livelihood and gainful employment scheme, the financial assistance? Will it also cover all of these questions asked at 76C?
So the general programs that we have had for the entrepreneurs, which is we opened up for different entrepreneurs, is available to all the entrepreneurs. So whether you're an agri-entrepreneur or a tourism entrepreneur or any other sector that's there. So this will apply to all. So whoever has applied and whoever wants to apply for this is eligible to apply.